Welcome to New Possibilities. I speak truth to power without fear. So this video right here is going to be my brief analysis of Donald Trump's ridiculous press conference about the situation in Charlottesville, Virginia. You know, this press conference actually revealed his true thoughts on this issue. Initially, he made a statement talking about how there's prejudice and hate on all sides. And he didn't call out the white supremacists, and because of that, he was fiercely criticized by members of his own party and by the public at large. So in response to that, this man did a subsequent press statement where he actually named names and called out white supremacists, condemned racism as evil and this and that. And from what I've heard in the media, the statement came across as it was forced. It came across as something that he really didn't believe. You know, he was reading from a teleprompter at the time. And then he recently had this impromptu press conference that was really supposed to be about something else, infrastructure, but he ended up talking about issues surrounding Charlottesville, Virginia. And he basically revealed his true thoughts. It made it clear to anyone with a brain that this man basically sympathizes with these right-wing racists and bigots. He defended them. He tried to make them seem like they are morally equivalent to the other groups that were protesting against those haters. So let's talk about it. I mean, first of all, his whole demeanor was disrespectful to the media. I mean, he was very rude. I mean, if Obama did what this man did during that press conference, Obama would have been condemned, and black people as a collective would have been stereotyped. They would have referred to Obama as the angry black man, but because it's this rich white man, he doesn't receive that same kind of criticism. He cuts off the media, tells them to wait a minute. You know, he calls them fake news. He's very disrespectful. So that's the first thing that came across. Another point that I want to make is this. He said that there's blame on both sides. There's blame on both sides. I mean, the counter-protesters didn't kill anyone the last time I checked. The counter-protesters didn't ram a car into a group of innocent people protesting, injuring 19 people. The counter-protesters didn't attack a young black man, slashing his skin on his head to the point where he's pouring out blood on his face. The counter-protesters didn't do that. That was the white supremacists. Who came to that protest armed with firearms? That was the white supremacists. So this notion that there's blame on all sides is ridiculous. This equivalency that this man is trying to make is false. I mean, when you look at the history of these groups, these hate groups, the KKK is a terrorist organization that has a history of lynching black people, shooting black people, burning black people, blowing up black churches. That's their history. The Nazis had a history that included the genocide of the Jewish people, killing over 6 million Jews, causing World War II, killing all kinds of people, gassing people, burning people in ovens, dumping bodies in mass graves. That's the history of the Nazis. And those are the groups that were there protesting because this statue may possibly be removed. All sides are not to blame when you look at how the events unfolded in terms of who was responsible for the violence that occurred there. You know, this false equivalency that this man is making just makes it apparent that this man sympathizes with these white supremacists. And that is not a surprise, as I have said time and time again. These people represent his base. These are the people that voted for him. These are the people that wore those hats, those goofy looking hats talking about make America great again. which is nothing but code words or buzzwords for make America white again. You know, this talk about taking their country back means taking it back from black people, taking it back from immigrants, taking it back from minorities. That's what they mean. And that's why, you know, the KKK endorsed this man. That's why David Duke endorsed this man. That's why the alt-right endorsed this man, because he speaks their language. They identify with this man because he is one of their own. He's one of their own. This man had the nerve to say that not all of the people who were participating in those demonstrations were neo-Nazis. He said that there were some very fine people out there demonstrating. He said that the night before, Friday night, when they had those torches, they were quietly protesting. But yet when you watch the news, you hear those people talking about white lives matter, talking about you will not replace us, talking about the Jews will not replace us, bearing torches like the KKK bore torches when they came to terrorize black families. But yet these are very fine people, and not all of them are neo-Nazis, according to this man, Donald Trump. This man is a disgrace. He is a national embarrassment, and it's time for him to go. This man defended these white racists by talking about how they were fighting against the changing of culture and history. You know, those are some of the points that he made. Fighting against the taking down of the Robert E. Lee statue. And he went on to say, well, if you're taking down that statue, you're going to end up taking down George Washington and Thomas Jefferson statues because they owned slaves and this and that. The fact of the matter is, man, as I have said time and time again, Confederates do not deserve to be honored in this country. And that's how you honor them, by creating statues that are on display for the public to respect. Those statues need to come down. And it is despicable that you have a president defending a Confederate statue. In my prior video, I went into a little bit more detail about the problems with these Confederates, about why they should not be celebrated. And I'll just summarize it here. First of all, they were traitors. They committed treason against the United States by waging war against the very government that they pledged allegiance to, by engaging in a civil war that cost hundreds of thousands of lives. And they did this all so that they can protect that peculiar institution called slavery, so that they could protect the right to enslave our ancestors, to rape our ancestors, to beat our ancestors, to oppress our ancestors. That's what they fought and died for. Anybody who thinks that those kinds of people should be honored and respected, they are nothing but a racist. Nobody's trying to erase history. We're just trying to remove these racist and slave owners from positions of honor and praise. That's what we're doing. This man complained about the media treating these alt-right people unfairly. This man has just made it plain who he supports. He's made it plain what side he stands on. And I think that ultimately what the people need to do is they need to have a real march on Washington and demand that this man resign. We need regime change right here in America. We need regime change here in America. We don't need to have somebody like this in the White House.